Back then it was called art cars.
Art cars.
Art cars?
Art cars.
People would drive around all sorts of crap, you know what I mean? But we decided to go big on it.
Gotta go big, you know?
It's gotta roll.
We knew we wanted to build a car.
They're a pain in the ass.
From the depths of the earth, it is unexplainable, unbelievable.
Don't go out there.
Mutated mutants from another world. There is no place left to run. Emerging from the Black Rock Desert. Mutants of Black Rock.
You know, they're a real pain in the ass.
They're really cool.
The final phase of an accident of nature. The fire-breathing octopus. It is unexplainable. Creatures born from your very imagination. Unbelievable. Creatures from the sky. Creatures of the sea. The majestic narwhal. The mighty Mayan warrior. Creatures born from your very imagination. Uncontrollable. Mutants of Black Rock City.
It's been a labor of love.
Hell yeah! Art on wheels. The mobility of an art car is something that stands out from almost all festivals.
We decided to build a whale, and at the same time, my friends were going to build La Contessa. La Contessa was about 55 feet, and the whale was 75 feet. And we built them so that it would be like Moby Dick. We'd come out of this cloud of dust, right? And there'd be the whale, and the La Contessa was chasing it, you know?
David Best had his buses out there.
All my cars have been a collaboration. I think I've done 40 cars. Always the inspiration is desperation. My inspiration is to making a car that can get up to Burning Man.
On the way down, there was people waiting in these little towns because they were calling ahead and say, hey, this massive shark's coming down the road, you know? So people were waiting, you know, in lawn chairs with cameras.
I took a stretch limousine because we were going to do it as a whale watching tour. You know, we were going to tell people whale watching tour. We had whale watching, and you know, then he came with the shark. It was classic.
First time we came across the Esplanade, heading out into the middle of the playa, there was like 50 hippies chasing the car right now, you know, because there was no big cars out here. The three of us, you know, between the boat and the whale and the shark.
That was basically the very first, like, good size art cars.
Draco the Dragon.
Draco was funny. They built it out of hay carts out there at the ranch. One year we built a buffalo and put propane tanks on it, and then we had a buffalo hunt. Those were good years.
Wonder grips a city as a mutant strikes again. And again. Out of sand swims the man-eating shark.
When we got to the desert out here, as soon as we got down on the playa, we put the fins on. When we got up to the box office, I guess, you know, I just had my ticket. Oh, yeah, shark. And they announced the radio, there's a huge shark at the gate.
So I don't think we registered it at all, yeah.
When Burning Man first started out here in the desert in 1990, they didn't have a DMV, they didn't have any rules about driving. Basically, people could drive where they wanted.
We thought it was anything goes.
Free radical art party.
Yeah, you know, and we realized no, there are some rules.
As the event grew, it became pretty obvious that having many, many people driving around along with all of the bicycles and pedestrians became a safety issue.
Back then it was called art cars. They didn't change it to mutant vehicles till after the shark.
And we created the Department of Mutant Vehicles to differentiate it from the default world Department of Motor Vehicles.
Never turn your back on a mutant vehicle.
The craziest thing I've seen at Burning Man yet.
It's open season for mutants. You don't find them, they find you.
You're dealing with some kind of giant sea creature.
The octopus that shoots fire. I'm a ginormous octopus.
just like roaming around. It's got like fire.
Mutants born from your very imagination. They just might entice you. They just might excite you. Mutants of Black Rock.
The commitment to building an art car is amazing.
I tried building one other art car, like a mutant vehicle, but it was denied because it wasn't mutated enough.
Basically, they told me, all this is a monkey head on a car. This is not mutated enough, don't ever bring it back.
Then I got a little more serious and built a diner.
You know, I was thinking, yeah, I'm gonna knock this thing out in 6 months, and it ends up being, 2.5 years.
Next year we came back, we covered it with plastic bags, brought it in, I was like, this is gonna be great. They're like, that's moopy, don't ever bring it back.
There's two different aspects that we look at mutant vehicles for. In the day is, how mutated is it? Does it look different? Is it interesting? Does it look different than a standard vehicle?
So I went back to the drawing board. This is Chim Chim 6.0.
So that's for a day license. At night, since you may not be able to see the same factors of the vehicle, either you need to be lighting a very well mutated vehicle so we can see it, or the lighting itself needs to be interesting and what we call radically illuminated.
So it's all been little tweaks. We added fire. This year we upgraded LED lighting so you can see us from a long ways away.
We got the license for day, and then the next day we dialed in the lights and got the license for the night.
Sometimes people come to us and say, oh, you have to have $1 million to make a mutant vehicle that the DMV will invite. And the opposite is actually true. Most of the vehicles that we invite are the size of a golf cart or smaller.
We were so excited when we got our day pass, and then we got our night pass. I mean, right there, it was like the biggest hugs in the world for each other. Yes, this is a success at this point.
Every year we're trying to improve. We're trying to one-up the DMV, so at some point in time they'll say, you get to go, you're not conditional, and that's my goal.
This wonderful vessel was made for the opera, Ark of the Nereids. It was made by Pepe, a Renaissance man, and he fabricated this out of metal because he was an excellent welder.
He was a maniac at welding. It was built well, Pepe was a perfectionist.
Most art cars are made to be mobile and move. The Narwhal in particular was made to be a stage. It does need to be pulled, it's very unique, it's a trailer.
A beat trailer, so it's got the center dump. That's what we were looking for when we built it, because you can get down inside the narwhal.
The surface of it was covered with chicken wire and canvas and muslin, and it looked like scales.
It's got polymers in it. We soaked it in sheets, and then that's what the siding wall is that stuff there. That's where you can see the chicken wire coming through that.
So it's important to do some maintenance on it every year, really putting thick paint on and then keeping up on the paint.
There's something fun about chopping a car up,
My buddy came up with this Cadillac. It was an ex-pimp's Cadillac, 86 Sedan DeVille. I put it together up in Washington and brought it down. So, Vortec 350, it's in 1997 crate motor with a heavy-duty turbo 400. And then we just ran a one-wire alternator and a V-belt, so make it real simple in case we have issues. It took me about 3 months to build it. I barely got it done in time. Quite the adventure, for sure. Look out. Everything else kind of fails out here as far as plastic and cloth, wood.
He's like, I'm going to make it aluminum. And I think about 15,000 rivets later, maybe.
50 to 100 1/8-inch drill bits, 3 or 4 air rivers I burned out.
And the thing is still running and solid 20 years later, which blows my mind.
The Narwhal had its 20th birthday. It's had so many lives. It's like a cat with 9 lives. But, I don't know how many lives narwhals have.
I pity him sometimes. He's so alone. The only one of his kind in the world.
Everything that ever walked or crawled on the face of the earth swum the depths of the ocean.
I've never seen anything quite like it.
I don't know. Freaks of any kind give me the willies.
You make it sound so creepy.
Beware the ferocious cupcakes.
Cutest things you ever saw.
Hey, they're keeping you busy these days.
It's the desert. Gives people wonderful ideas.
There's two kinds of art cars. There's small and there's big.
We decided to go big on it.
We got to go big, you know. I mean, this is what it's all about.
Big ones take on lots of people and they're a service.
When you have a small car, it's easier to deal with, easier to load on a trailer, just way less stress on you. The big ones can be very stressful, and they can also be very fun, too.
In the early days, I'd have 40 people on one of my cars.
I think we've had 50, 60 people on here, like the night of the man burn.
I think one car we actually counted 60 people. That's a lot of people on an old Cadillac, you know.
So I'm Mr. Mojo, and I built the Purple Palace to bring out to Burning Man 2005, and then I made it even larger in 2006. And at that point, I was easily the largest art car on the planet for the next 8 years as I drove it out here. It's 110 feet long, over 40 feet tall at the top of its flagpoles, and it weighs 65 to 75,000 pounds. One of the interesting things about driving a very large art car, somewhere between 100 to 200 people on board any given time, people bouncing. 100 people start bouncing at the same time. The entire suspension wants to just break. The tires want to pop. You deal with a lot of mechanical issues at that point.
You know, the art car was free. You know, in the old days, you know, I mean, now there's some people spending $500,000 on an art car.
It's a very magical culture, the Mayans. And warrior is a warrior of consciousness.
We're reviving the tribes, the cultural tribes that we Choles, the Aztecs, and we mix it with technology. Architects, designers, mechanics, robotics, propane, lasers, welding, electronics, LED, lighting. We're a staff of 20 people. Everyone in its discipline is like contributing to make this happen.
It's the big ones that really take a lot of people and the small ones that actually can make a big difference.
Mutants come in all sizes.
When I saw your car, never saw anything like it.
I love to see what somebody just did in their backyard or in their garage.
Traveling via tuk-tuk in India is a life-altering, death-defying act of pure joy.
He's used the English wheel and it created the veins of the elephant's ears. And then this curve right here gives it structure.
Everything reflects, so everything around it is part of it. These are vintage rhinestones from the 30s through the 70s.
It's kind of the perfect size for the playa because it's easy to get around. People know to get out of the way of art cars, but you're actually among bicyclists and pedestrians. It's super easy to get close to the artwork, which is super cool.
Yeah, you're just like down there with people instead of up there in one of the big art cars.
The Wonder Wagon, iconic stagecoach from youth, Wonder Ponies that we all rode in the 60s and 70s. Amazing what people are doing. I think there's still always a place for the old school, the iconic vehicles. Something special about it.
I love it when I see a small group of friends get together, and whether it's a golf cart or in one case they wanted to do something with their grandmother's old car, she had passed away, and they made a beautiful peacock. And it was really a labor of love. Small vehicle, some friends, they didn't know what they were doing when they started, and they came up with a great mutant vehicle to share.
If you asked 100 people who make different art cars why they made their art car, you would get 100 different reasons.
I'm fascinated with helixes because we're actually traveling in a helix through space.
You know, this buddy of mine said, hey, I can build this TV, we'll have a TV show. And it really works out well. It's actually really fun.
You know, it's an easy-go golf cart, gas-powered. I used to quad because it's got a shaft drive and reverse.
I'm trying to come up with ideas all the time. You know, the diner look is hand-rolled on aluminum. I used to have fog machines.
I think everybody's expecting me to make a rocket car for Burning Man this year. And this is definitely not a rocket car.
Art cars are dedication no matter what size, but when they break down, you are alone. You are alone. It is so lonely.
If you're gonna bring a car out here, better be prepared to work on it.
If you're thinking about building an art car, don't do a junker.
This year we have an art car in the tin camp. It's very difficult because we over the ocean, another side of the earth.
It snows out here, it rains out here.
A lot of materials out here will, they just don't hold up. You can see the neon here that's blistering from the sun. Plastic, wood, rubber. You got to pick a good material that's going to hold up. And metal's long lasting. The ply dust got stuck in one of the fins on the back, sandwiched in there, then got wet, and it rotted the aluminum out in about 2 years.
Well, because, Burning Man and the sun's trying to kill you, and the dust, and everything's trying to kill you out there, right? That's why there's no life on the playa. Have you ever noticed? No ants, no nothing, right?
Oh, we expect it to be clear and not blowing wind and sand in your face, and it's like...
It's not gonna be easy.
Registration, make sure it's smogged before you start cutting it up. Once you get a car that has a horse on top, you can't bring it into a smog shop. It won't fit. If someone says, oh, I've got a car that's been sitting in my backyard, you can have it. Let them keep it. You're putting several $1,000s into a car that's got a dead battery and a starter that's no good.
Because it's gonna break. It's gonna break, period.
Something else will break this year, I'm sure of it. It's just a given.
Keep a good head about yourself and keep it going.
And then you learn, and then you make it better next year.
So the advice is to don't do a junker.
My suggestion is keep it small enough like a golf cart. We only have to get 2 of your friends maybe together to go out because it takes forever to get everybody to go out.
Having the money to get the materials and having the time to do it is quite a balance.
It was done on such a budget. I used chicken wire over 1/2-inch square tubing and 1/8-inch strapping to grid it. And then we used bed sheets with latex paint.
This was it. All the wiring and coming up with the ideas, learning how to use all these different tools. I mean, this is the result of why I learned how to weld.
I learned to weld for the project.
This is my first time messing around with hydraulics. You can do the bulk majority of the work and it looks great, and small little part will, stop you dead in the water. I think that's why it takes a couple years to dial in some of these art cars.
The fin. Every year there's a fin messing with it, the casters, the hinge point, rigidity of the fin and the wind and everything. We finally got that ironed out. Through the years, we've had a transmission year and a carburetor year. I have 3 carburetors for the Shark. The one that's on there, and I have 2 of them on deck. You just overcome this stuff after a while. You figure out what your weak points are, and then you try to keep rolling with the least amount of work, They just worn the brake drum out. But now I have 2 extra brake drums that are brand new, and so I'm ready. Let it happen. Takes a jack and a star wrench, and you're back in the saddle in no time, right?
Gradual improvements year by year, and just keeping the ponies happy.
Saturday and Sunday nights, our first 2 nights open, there's usually a line of vehicles about a quarter mile long coming in for inspection. Every year I will go and walk that line, and I talk to the Mutant vehicle owners. In one spot, I can see just thousands of hours of creativity. If you look at all of the different types of Mutant vehicles, all of the craftsmanship and the creativity, I've been doing this 21 years, and every year I get out here, I look at that line, and I get a little teary because it really is neat. It's really fun.
What's it like to drive a mutant vehicle?
We'll walk over here and I'll give you a demonstration. Hey man, can you stop over at the first camp? I left my water bottle there. What? Can you go over where my camp is? I want to see if my girlfriend can come with it. I can't ride with you. I can only go. Can you take me to the trash fence? Oh wait, can we stop? Let's go to the porta potties. You got room for my bike? You got anything to drink? How long did this take you to make? Why did you make it? Who are you? Why are you driving this car? Who do you think you are?
That's the worst of it.
The only thing I gotta say is I'm constantly screaming, I'm not goddamn Santa Claus. That's not Santa Claus's sleigh. Those aren't f***ing reindeer.
Sometimes people just come up, people tell me stories about it that I didn't know.
The experiences we've had out here too with it are priceless, and they keep it going.
So pay attention when you get on an art car as to who owns it and what they've gone through.
This thing's iconic. It's gotta roll. It's gonna just keep coming back year after year after year.
All my cars have been a collaboration. When I collaborate, I never take ownership.
I just take care of the car now, you know, and just keep it going. It was for Burning Man. It was like meant for Burning Man. It always will be.
That's incredible. Just people who remember it from 10 years ago, kids, adults. It's fantastic.
Oh my gosh, it's such a great response. It's so much better than I ever dreamt.
It's a love-hate thing, of course, like always, you know. It could be stressful. It can be the funnest thing you've ever experienced, for sure.
This is a child we never had. This is our adopted narwhal child.
Owning a large art car at Burning Man was the most special gift I could have ever given myself and everybody that drove on the bus.
It's an addictive thing to be of service and to get so much feedback.
And as we're driving around, everybody's coming out and waving their hands, and it's just awesome.
Yeah.
You don't do it for yourself, you do it for everybody else.
The main thing was meeting an amazing amount of people that are just awesome every single day. I have so many amazing friends from building the Purple Palace, and my life has changed for the better in every way. You know, it's just the best.
Yeah, it's been pretty magical, you know.
So if you're going to do an art car, get ready.
Never before had outsiders beheld such sights.
It's taken years to produce the deformity.
I can't figure it. It's just like something grabbed the pickup and threw it 30 feet off the road.
You'll see it, Joe. You wish you hadn't. Beware the mutants of Black Rock. Twisted metal and rusted, dusty wreckage. Emerging from the Black Rock Desert. You can't see it in the darkness or hear it in the silence, but you can feel its presence. Remember the mutants of Black Rock City. They will be waiting for you.